Many of us in India have long been asking for the Snapdragon powered Galaxy S20 FE to be brought to our country, and so here it is. Hello everyone, my name is Aman Rashid, you're watching Mr. Phone, and this is my review of the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE 5G. As always, before we start, please go ahead and subscribe to the Mr. Phone YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Also hit that bell icon so that you're notified whenever a brand new video drops. With that said, let's get started. For this video, I will mainly be focusing on the performance upgrades that the Snapdragon 865 brings to the table over the Exynos 990. So let's begin with Geekbench. So a single core score of 856 and a multi-core score of 2818, which is pretty much in line with the scores I got with the Exynos 990. Now let's go ahead and test Antutu. For perspective, I'm also including the Vivo X60 Pro in the mix to see what kind of a performance difference we can expect between the Snapdragon 870 and the Snapdragon 865. For those who don't know, the Snapdragon 870 is an overclocked version of the Snapdragon 865, wherein the main Cryo 585 core is clocked at 2.84 GHz on the Snapdragon 865, while the Snapdragon 870 has the same core running at 3.2 GHz. Pretty solid performance on both phones, I would say. Definitely a higher score on the Vivo, which makes it about 10% better in terms of numbers as per Antutu. However, the Vivo X60 Pro did drop its brightness level, and also the phone felt slightly warmer to the touch in comparison to the Galaxy S20 FE. Otherwise, good thermal performance on both phones. And now it is time for the final test. I am going to check the CPU throttling. As you can see, I have set the threads at 20 and the test is going to run for 30 minutes. Now, of course, every modern day smartphone throttles. It's just that what kind of performance you should expect from these devices when the load and temperature increases. As for the final results, the Galaxy S20 FE with its Snapdragon 865 throttled to 77% of its maximum performance, while the Vivo X60 Pro throttled to 80% of its maximum performance, which is slightly better than that of the Galaxy. Quickly checking the battery and CPU temperatures as well. And one last thing that you guys need to see is the minimum number of instructions both the devices could perform. The number is again about 15% better on the Vivo X60 Pro. So purely in terms of benchmark numbers, the Vivo X60 Pro did fare better than the Galaxy S20 FE, but guys, in the real world, both the phones felt more or less the same in terms of performance. And by real world, I mean to say the day-to-day performance, the thermal performance, the gaming performance. I think so both the phones are well equipped to handle the demanding of tasks. Although I would say that the thermal performance is overall better on the Galaxy S20 FE. So there's that. Okay, on to the other aspects of the smartphone, that is the design and display. Now, I have talked in detail about this in my long-term review of the Exynos version of the Galaxy S20 FE, but if I have to tell you about it briefly, well, I absolutely love the matte rear finish. This cloud navy color that Samsung sent me this time around, I think this one looks stealthy, and I kinda like this one more than the cloud mint color that I had earlier. Of course, the front is flat, and this is how I prefer my phone's display to be. So yeah, a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED panel, Full HD Plus resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, not adaptive but okay, it works, and 240Hz touch response. As for the quality, it is bright, vivid, punchy, has wide viewing angles, and all the good stuff is present here. Of course, this is a Samsung made display, guys, so it has to be top notch, and it is. Now, the software I got on this phone is a One UI 3 based on Android 11, and strangely enough not One UI 3.1, which, if I recall, I did use One UI 3.1 on the Exynos version back in February. So I hope the update arrives soon. But otherwise, One UI coupled with Snapdragon 865 has been great. The software and hardware work in perfect tandem, and even under stress, I never felt that the software or the performance slowed down. Of course, you saw the temperature levels as well during benchmarks, and apart from all of that, everything from app animations to the transitions to opening and closing apps felt smooth. And yeah, can't forget that you are getting 3 years of main Android updates and 4 years of security patch updates with the Galaxy S20 FE. Apart from this, the buttons on this phone offer amazing tactile feedback. The haptics are very good. As a matter of fact, I think this phone has one of the best haptic motors that you can find these days on a smartphone. And you also get stereo speakers. One speaker is here, the other one is right here in the earpiece. The earpiece doubles up as the secondary speaker. And for the audio sample, well, here it is. Besides this, you get a micro SD card slot, which is a plus. Sadly, no headphone jack, which is kind of a bummer, but never mind. IP68 dust and water resistance, very important addition, and it is right here on this phone. Lastly, you also get wireless charging along with reverse wireless charging. And charging reminds me of the battery life, so a 4500 mAh cell that you are getting inside the smartphone. Not a huge battery by today's standards, but this phone, guys, is easily a one-day phone, and on some days I could even take it to a day and a half. As for the charging times, well, not so good. The 15-watt charger doesn't help much, and I think the 25-watt charger inside the box would have been a better addition. One last thing that I want to talk about before diving into the camera details is about 5G. And while I don't care much about 5G right now, considering it is still far away, for those who do, note that this phone supports 9 5G bands in India, which I think is great. For comparison, the OnePlus 9 and the OnePlus 9 Pro featuring the latest Snapdragon 888 SoC for some weird reason only support 2 5G bands in India. Finally, camera performance, but first the specifications. So the rear has a triple camera setup, and by now I have said this so many times. Anyway, a 12 megapixel main lens, a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, and an 8 megapixel telephoto lens. At the front, you are getting a 32 megapixel camera for selfies. By the way, I recently made a camera comparison video pitting the Vivo X60 Pro against the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. So if you haven't watched that video yet, you can do that by hitting the card that's right above my head right now. And as for now, this is what I feel about the camera performance of the Galaxy S20 FE. The camera performance has been top-notch all the way. The Galaxy S20 FE takes some amazing photos with good amounts of detail and sharpness. Colors look punchy, but the punchiness is just the right amount, I feel, and of course, dynamic range is also good. Now, I did notice the photos taken from the telephoto lens to offer slightly muted colors in comparison to the main and ultra-wide lens, so that could be an area of improvement. But otherwise, all lenses do a very good job, especially the telephoto lens. I think you can use the 3x optical zoom for capturing some amazing close-up shots. And one more thing I liked about the S20 FE's camera is the way it dealt with my skin tone. And I'm not just talking about the rear camera, but also the selfie camera for that matter. Good performance. Finally, even during night, given there's decent lighting, the camera does a fine job in capturing detailed images along with good color reproduction. However, in not so good lighting conditions, the camera just does an average job. But one thing that I do appreciate is the fact that the photos taken in poor lighting conditions came out distortion free, and the camera never tried to over brighten a scene. Finally, let's talk about video recording. So my only gripe with the the Exynos S20 FE were the pans and movements. With that I mean every now and then I used to notice judders while recording videos. However, this time around, whether you shoot 4K 60 FPS videos or whether you shoot 1080p 30 FPS videos, first of all, OIS is on point, without a doubt one of the best you can get on a phone right now. And of course, I'm happy to report that the pans and movements are one of the smoothest that I've ever tested on any smartphone in recent times. And of course, colors and details also look great. Priced at 47,999 rupees, I think so the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE 5G is absolutely worth its asking price. I've said this before and I will repeat it again, that the Galaxy S20 FE is the true flagship killer and the phone to look out for even in 2021. So that was my review of the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE 5G. Smash the like button if you agree with me, and if you don't, then reach out to me in the comments. Let's have a chat, let's have a debate, let's talk about the smartphone. You can also reach out to me on my social handles. The link will be present in the description below. As always, thanks a lot for watching guys, and for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Mr. Phone. See you all in the next one.